And welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn.
It's a brand new year of sports coverage for the Auburn Tigers, and the first few weeks did not disappoint. Since we've been gone, Auburn has made the official switch to Nike. An all-star team is heading to the Plains, and finally, with all the talk of transfers and potential, it was nice to see some familiar stars back on campus. We will dive into all things and so much more tonight. Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. I'm Kitty Diamond.
And I'm Brooks Crew, and boy, does it feel good to be back. 2 weeks in, I still have a smile on my face, especially when I'm talking about Auburn football being back.
Brooks, what was that they say about threes? Well, the third time is the charm may just be true for head coach Freeze this season.
You may just be right, but here's what we know from the first 2 weeks. In their first outing of the 2025 season, the Auburn Tigers faced a Power 5 opponent in Baylor. They were able to pencil in an impressive 38-24 win over the Bears for their resume, which has only looked stronger in the weeks since. Although Auburn has only played Baylor 5 times in school history, Jackson Arnold seemed to be back in the form that beat Bama last year as he marched his way up and down the field in Waco. The Denton, Texas native rushed for 137 yards and 2 touchdowns, which was good enough to get him named the Co-SEC Offensive Player of the Week. In that win, Arnold was far from the only player that stuck out, but another notable name, Rayshawn Pleasant, gave us a pleasant surprise with a 98-yard kickoff return. Good enough for him to be named Co-SEC Player of the Week, coming from his performance on the special teams.
As much fun as the road in Waco was, nothing compares to football kicking off on the Plains. Last Saturday, the Tigers faced Ball State, and Pat Dye Field was honored in true Auburn fashion. Eagle Eye's Jack Corbett was on the sidelines, and he has more about Auburn's second game of the season.
After a big week 1 on the road in Waco, Auburn football returned to Jordan-Hare Stadium to face Ball State.
It had been 287 days since the Auburn faithful gathered in JHS, and they were ready to bring the energy. After the first Eagle flight of 2025, the game began, and Jeremiah Cobb struck first for Auburn. Cobb led the way in rushing for the Tigers with 121 yards on the day. Cobb wasn't the only threat Auburn had, however, as Singleton got on the end of a pass from Arnold that made it 14-0 Tigers through 1. A Horatio Fields touchdown in the second, and this Jeremiah Cobb's touchdown in the third put Auburn up 28-0 before Ball State finally put points on the board with a field goal. These 3 points would be the Cardinals' only points on the night. The Tigers' defense was stifling all 4 quarters, allowing the Cardinals only 68 yards throughout the entire game. Jackson Arnold had another impressive performance, throwing for 251 yards and 3 touchdowns. Coach Freeze talked about his goals for the offense after the game.
We want to be a fundamentally efficient scoring machine that, we'd like to, average right at 38 to 40 a game. And if you do that, you're going to win a lot of football games.
Final score from Jordan-Hare, Auburn 42, Ball State 3, as the Tigers look to carry their 2-0 momentum into their game next Saturday versus South Alabama.
We're down. For Eagle Eye TV, I'm Jack Corbett.
Thanks, Jack, for that recap. Before we move on, the preview for Auburn's homecoming game this Saturday just got sweeter. The 11:45 a.m. kickoff against South Alabama will now feature a ranked team. If you're guessing South Alabama, I have even better news for you. Auburn football is ranked within the top 25, earning the 24th spot for the first time since 2021. Those of you who are wondering what this looks like for the Tigers are in luck. When we come back, Brooks will detail the Tigers' past and future and provide a special look into the Tigers' new ranking. Stay tuned, we'll be back in a moment.
Welcome back to Sports Night in Auburn. Football is back on the Plains, and I, for one, could not be more excited. The Tigers showed up and showed out this past Saturday against Ball State, taking down the Cardinals, thanks in large part to these 3 players, Eagle Eye's Auburn Players of the Week. Starting off with Sylvester Smith, and man, I loved watching this guy this week. Sylvester Smith is the kind of guy that'll make you say, that man had a family at least twice a game. Smith's found himself with the reputation of picking them up nicely and putting them down a lot less nicely. I'm serious. If you don't know him, go look this dude up. He's fun to watch. Xavier Atkins, the new LSU transfer, was also quite a bright spot for the Tigers defense, boasting 2 sacks and 5 solo tackles, 4 of which were for a loss. He and Kieran Crawford pretty much shut down the Cardinals' rushing game on their own, while also taking down the quarterback 4 times between the two of them. Finally, gotta talk about the man himself, Jackson Arnold. The Oklahoma transfer boasted over 250 passing yards and 3 touchdowns in the air, which was good for a dazzling 196.4 passer rating. I guess when you only have 4 passes going complete, one of which was a drop, things go well. Moving right along, though, it's a big matchup for the Tigers this Saturday. They'll have another home matchup against the South Alabama Jaguars for the first time in Auburn history. The Tigers open this week as a 25.5-point favorite over the Jaguars, but the Jaguars' offense is no slouch, and the Tigers will have to be looking out for these 3 key players if they want to head to Oklahoma next week undefeated. First for South Alabama is Devin Boyson, a wide receiver who's been the favorite target for South Alabama, as you can see, boasting 221 yards with 3 touchdowns, which vast majority of the Jaguars' offensive production. Throwing to him will be quarterback Bishop Davenport, whose 397 yards and 4 touchdowns through the air actually eclipse Jackson Arnold's passing stats. So the Tigers' pass rush is going to need to step up once again if they're to limit his time to get to Boyson or any of the Jags' other receivers. And finally, Kentrell Bullock, the running back, has been quite impressive on the ground, amassing 234 yards and 3 touchdowns on his own. Good for a 5-yard average per carry. So the Tigers will need to contain him well, but the Jags will be able to march downfield and score without the refs' help, which Ball State certainly needed to get their only 3 points of that game. Seriously, what was that? The elephant in the room for the Tigers, though, isn't their upcoming matchup. It's the fact that, for the first time since 2021, your Auburn Tigers are officially ranked in the AP poll. How great is that? The Tigers certainly owe a lot of thanks to their friends over in Waco, as the Baylor Bears, who the Tigers defeated in Week 1, went on the road to number 17 SMU and took them down in 2 overtimes. The Tigers certainly hope that Baylor will continue to appear dominant throughout the season, as the better the Bears do, the better Auburn's win over them will look. Interestingly, the Bears still received less votes in the AP poll, which is how they determine who's ranked where, than SMU did, which, I don't know, feels more than a little unfair, but that's voters for you. With my ranting out of the way, that's a wrap on football for this week. After the break, you'll hear from myself and reporter Cohen Dalzell for the Men's Minute. This week, Auburn Athletics announced a shocking new collab that you won't want to miss. Stick with us. We'll be back in just a moment. Before we left, I promised more information on a collab, and though it's fall, we're talking baseball. Fall exhibition takes on a whole new meaning for the Tigers, as the Savannah Bananas All-Star team will play them on Saturday, October 25th at 7 p.m. Central.
If you aren't familiar with the Bananas, they are a traveling baseball team. To scratch the surface of what they do, they are the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball, and they come with trending uniforms, dance moves, and all of the entertainment.
The Tigers will play under their rules in Plainsman Park, and tickets will go on sale at a later date. The game will also be broadcast on the Bananas YouTube channel for free. With all this excitement from baseball, we're going to toss you to Cohen for some men's golf and cross-country rundowns.
Brooks, what a time it is to be an Auburn student when the Savannah Bananas come to campus. Just as lucky is to be an Auburn student when Jackson Cohen wears the orange and blue. This is a name I will never get tired of talking about. 2 of his most recent accomplishments come from earning the McCormick Medal for the world's top amateur in Liberty Corner, New Jersey. He also helped Team USA win their 5th consecutive Walker Cup title. His foursomes and doubles win in singles led to him going undefeated on Sunday. The team as a whole is looking to keep their stock at the top, and the preseason coaches poll thinks they will do just that. The men's golf team is ranked number 2 in the country, and their first test is one that will come next Monday. On September 15th, the golf team travels to Oodlewood, Tennessee to play at the Invitational at the Honors Course in their first event on the calendar. Before this Men's Minute runs out, there is one more squad who deserves their flowers. The men's cross-country team had competed at Jacksonville State and had a 2nd place finish. Two of the team's leaders, sophomore Nixon Chebby and junior Max Harden, were side by side in the 5K. Chebby grabbed the top spot running in 14 minutes and 44 seconds, while Harden close trailed at 14 minutes and 48 seconds. That time was Harden's career best. Bryce McCleary and Evan Hill also rounded out the top 10. They will return back to Jacksonville State on Friday. That's all for my portion of the Men's Minute, but they have more for you back at the desk.
Thank you, Cohen. As we continue on our journey through Auburn athletics, we're excited to announce that both the men's and the women's tennis teams are ready and rearing to go. They will both be in action at the Blue-Gray National Tennis Classic in Montgomery, Alabama next weekend. The field of men's competitors are stacked, including the University of Alabama, whom Auburn lost to last season and will surely be eager to get a little get back. The women's field features 4 competitors Auburn played and defeated last season, including DJ Bennett, who recently earned the preseason #1 spot from the Intercollegiate Tennis Association for singles, and this tournament will kick off her 2025 campaign. Before we head to the break, we've got some trivia for you to chew on, specifically pertaining to one of Auburn's youngest teams. Put the popcorn down. It's time for some Auburn soccer trivia. Since the program began in 1993, how many wins does Auburn soccer have? A, 200, B, 275, C, 350, or D, 400? When we come back from the break, you will get an answer to that trivia question, and we will begin our Women's Watch for the week.
Before the break, Brooks left you with the trivia question. Since the program began in 1993, how many wins does the Auburn soccer team have? A, 200, B, 275, C, 350, or D, 400? The correct answer is letter C. Auburn soccer just earned their 350th win over Florida Gulf Coast University on Sunday. Cohen has the rest of the news on Auburn's women's soccer since we've returned.
Kitty, Auburn soccer's upward trend in the past 2 years makes 350 wins in the past 31 years much more believable. Despite their loss to BYU, who was ranked 11th in the nation at the time during their first road game, Auburn soccer bounced back with a win against Utah Valley on September 1st. They won that match 2-0, and it was a story of both rookie and vet. The first goal was earned by Aaron Fleury, a senior transfer from Syracuse, who has made an immediate impact on the pitch. The second goal was earned by freshman Gracie Brown, who earned her first collegiate goal. We mentioned the match against Florida Gulf Coast briefly earlier, but let's figure out just what led the Tigers to a 5-0 victory. In this shutout, Auburn came out hot in the first half with 3 goals. This was the second time Aaron Fleury had multiple goals in a single match, clocking in 2 of Auburn's 5. Dylan Driver scored her first goal of the season, in addition to picking up her 5th assist. All 5 of those assists have come in the last 5 matches, and her total leads the team. An Auburn player who is new to racking up assists is Jordan Crosby. She played left back for the first time during this game and added 2 assists to her stat line. Before this season, she had never even contributed an assist. The Lady Tigers will look to take that momentum into their SEC opener. This Friday, they will travel to Ole Miss at 7 p.m. and face off against the Rebels. The volleyball team hasn't quite reached SEC play, but what we've seen from them so far has been pretty impressive. Kitty has more on their recent success.
Thanks, Cohen. In order to talk about that success, we do have to start with their loss against Louisville on August 29th. You may be thinking that talking about a loss doesn't show sign of success, but for the Lady Tigers, who lost in the 4th to the 4th-ranked Cardinals, they didn't have a bad outing at all. They held their own against the former national championship runner-ups, only losing by 4 in all 3 sets. Senior Zoe Slaughter also earned her 500th career dig that night. While in Kentucky, Auburn beat both Morehead State and St. John's, dropping only 1 set. Last Wednesday, I reported from inside Neville at the home opener against Troy. Brought the energy. Here's more from the first serve night.
Coming off of a 2-game winning streak on the road, the Auburn Tigers are back home in Neville Arena to take on Troy for a thrilling in-state matchup.
Coach Brent Crouch and the Auburn Tigers came into the game motivated to face the Troy Trojans for the 18th time in program history. The Trojans, coming off a 3-game losing streak, were looking to build some early season momentum. This was an exciting game for the Alabama teams as they kick off their seasons. The Tigers began the first period strong with powerful spikes from junior hitter Eden Bauer and senior Liv Markovska, both key players for the team's dynamic offense. The Trojans tried to answer back, but it was simply no match for transfer Kate Mansfield, with a smooth assist from Callie Edson to set the Tigers up 25-12 at the end of the first. The Tigers maintained their momentum going into the second set with a fierce kill by Dreves to put the Tigers up 14-11, a dynamic block by Eden Bauer and Kate Mansfield, and Callie Edison with another beautiful set to Grace Havlicek for the kill. And with a 25-19 lead, the Tigers moved into the third set with confidence. The third showcased a defensive superpower like no other. Block after block after block, stars like Mansfield, Dreves, Zimmerman, and Havlicek secured a 25-17 win to close the match.
In a series that dates back to 1974, the Auburn Tigers have maintained their undefeated record against the Trojans as they close out their 18th matchup with the win. For Eagle Eye TV, I'm Madison.
With that win, the Tigers had 2 days to recover before they would face Jackson State. Sports anchor and reporter Barrett Brown has the scoop from Friday night.
I'm reporting from Neville Arena, where your Auburn women's volleyball team faced Jackson State on Friday night.
Energy is high for Auburn's second home game of the 2025 season. The Lady Tigers continue to adjust to the loss of starting middle Emma Moore. A central theme of tonight's match was Auburn's strength on the serving line. Kate Mansfield controls the net with 5 blocks of the night. Not only is it a block party, but it's a dance party here in Neville Arena. After claiming the first set 25-18, Lauren Dreves led both teams with 12 kills. However, Jackson State doesn't go away that fast. They hold a strong blocking presence to keep the second set tight. After being tied at 20, Auburn pulled away with 4 unanswered points and this kill to close out the set. Not to mention the player of the match, Grace Havlicek, whose 5 aces were career high tonight. Liz Markovska's play didn't go unnoticed for the orange and blue, scoring the most points from both teams. Auburn blocking helped hold Jackson State to a 1.53 hitting percentage. And after aggressive 3 sets, this play led to keeping Jackson State under 15 points in the third set, ending 25-14. The Tigers will look to keep this momentum for their next match on Tuesday.
The Lady Tigers cruise past Jackson State in a competitive 3-set win. For Eagle Eye TV, I'm Barrett Brown.
Kitty and Barrett gave you a great idea of the state of Auburn volleyball, and in fact, the Lady Tigers were actually in action this past night playing the University of Virginia. Auburn won the first set 25-17 and then won the other 2 as well and won 3-0. We heard about how the men's cross-country team did earlier in the show, but now Cohen has more on how the women performed. Cohen?
Brooks, Brent Crouch's volleyball team is sitting at 5-1, but you know who's sitting at 1-0? Auburn women's cross country. They traveled to Jacksonville State with the men's team, and they placed first with 4 athletes in the top 10. Katie McPhail placed 3rd, running the 5K in 17 minutes and 35 seconds. There was a girl right on her tail, but luckily it was her teammate Matt Collins who finished 4th at 17 minutes and 41 seconds. The last women's team we will talk about in this Women's Watch is the women's golf team. Kitty has an update on their first matchup.
Women's golf has been playing at the Cougar Classic in Charleston, South Carolina. They won the Cougar Classic last year by 1 stroke, and Anna Davis will look to back up her preseason All-American honors. Yesterday, the squad finished 11th after round 2. Auburn had a slow start to the tournament, shooting 7 over in the first round. They had only 2 players shooting even and no player under par. Charlotte Cantonis, Molly Brown-Davidson, and Belma Devolos shot even in the second round. Anna Davis broke through in the second, shooting 1 under par. Today, we know that the Tigers sit in 9th. Round 3 was the best for the Lady Tigers, shooting 3 under par as a team. Anna Davis claimed 17th at the Cougar Classic. That's all we have for our Women's Watch, but before we go back to break, we have one more trivia question for you. Coming from football this time, Auburn scored 38 points against Baylor, those 38 points are the most in a road non-conference game since beating Florida State 42-41 in what year? A, 1984, B, 2000, C, 1994, or D, 1977? Brooks has the answer for you when we come back, and you'll get a look at what's been trending as of late during our final segment, Trending Tigers.
We're in the home stretch now. Before the break, Kitty asked you a trivia question. 38 points are the most in a road non-conference game since beating Florida State, something our sister schools down south couldn't do. 42-41 in what year? Was it A, 1984, B, 2000, C, 1994, or D, 1977? The correct answer is A, 1984, back when the starting quarterback was Pat Washington. Road games are hard in any conference, but they don't say the SEC means more for no reason. And this leads us into our top 5 trending moments. Leading us off, Auburn signed a uniform deal with Nike this year, and I personally think the jerseys look great. What do you think, Kitty?
I think they look great on the field. The players are looking sharp coming out in their new uniforms.
And you see right here, Rayshawn Pleasant, the man with the 98-yard kickoff return against Baylor, looking fresh in his new threads. Moving right along, we have the Auburn track and field team found their way to the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo 2025. Israel Okan is a name that you will recognize, but any of these players have made a significant impact for the Tigers this year. Moving on, we have the Jeremiah Cobb touchdown, and I mean, can't tackle that man. Look at that, Sully. Were you out there in the student section?
I was. It was a great time out there. The energy was definitely high for the first home game.
Oh, it was awesome. And as we move continually onward, we're going to talk about a Tiger in the NFL, Colby Wooden. Now, you might recognize this picture is a little bit old. That's because we don't have the rights to his NFL headshot. So this is his 2018 headshot from Auburn. You want to talk about some of his stats?
In Packers' 27-13 win versus Detroit Lions, Colby got 6 total tackles and 3 solid tackles. No small feat. He had 2 tackles for loss and 10.
That's just 1 quarterback hit. 10 would be pretty impressive, though. I wouldn't doubt it from an Auburn Tiger, but hey, this time it was just 1. This impressive performance helped the Green Bay Packers secure their victory 27-13 against my Detroit Lions. Moving right along, we got some additional drip for the basketball players. Lord knows they didn't need any more, but the Final Four ring, I mean, look at the detail, man. The South Regional champs, they've got the call God on the back, and I mean, I'm no expert on diamonds, but they say they're a girl's best friend. What do you think?
Looks pretty good to me. I wouldn't mind a ring like that.
The Final Four team included Janai Broom, Dylan Cardwell, Denver Jones, and they returned to the Plains to celebrate their run last year.
That's all we have in store for you today. For more sports in Auburn and Eagle Eye Sports, follow our Instagram and Twitter pages. Make sure to subscribe right here on YouTube and tune in every single week. My name is Kitty Diamond.
And for the amazing group here in the Eagle Eye studio, Cohen and Kitty and everyone behind the camera in the booth, our producer is Sophia Weber. I'm Brooks Crew. This has been Sports Night in Auburn. Good night and War Eagle.